What's going on, everybody, and welcome on in to episode 270 of the Garage Beers podcast, brought to you proudly here on the OBR streaming network. The Orange and Brown Report is the oldest and largest independent Browns coverage site in all of Cleveland. So if you're not tuned into the OBR, make sure you get tuned in. TheOBR.com. Subscribe over there for the best written Browns content. And whether you're watching us on YouTube or Twitch or wherever you're watching tonight, get over to the OBR's YouTube channel, get to the Twitch channel, hit subscribe, hit like, and make sure you are tuned in, because even in these dog days of the summer for the Cleveland Browns, the OBR is bringing you 5 days a week of video content covering the Cleveland Browns. And then Tuesday, hey, Jeff Tucker, hold on. Right in the middle of my intro, Jeff Tucker's over here doubting. Jeff Tucker, before we even started in the comments, says, hope you guys are live. And then, nope, can't be daylight. Jeff, Joe's in Seattle. Jeff, it's daylight there.
You might be a flat earther, though.
Oh, don't do that. We're not insulting Jeff like that. We're not doing that. We're live tonight. Of course we're live tonight. And we're ready to talk about a lot of stuff. To be honest with you, I kept watching stuff happen this week. And when you do what we do, it's just really nice sometimes to just see a bunch of stuff happening. And there was a bunch of stuff happening. We've got NBA and NHL draft plus offseason coverage coming at you for the Blue Jackets and the Cavs. We have got big developments, not new developments, certainly not things that we weren't expecting, but big developments nonetheless that have happened in Cleveland Browns world regarding a stadium, and we'll get into that conversation. We got really no developments around the Guardians, but we're still going to talk about them anyways. And so, while, like I was saying, Jeff Tucker, the OBR is your home for the best Browns content, but then once a week here, Tuesday nights, you get to talk about the Cavs and the Guardians and the Browns and everything else with us on Garage Beers. And so we're glad you're here with us. Do the same thing for Garage Beers, by the way, that we asked you to do with the OBR. Make sure you're tuned into the socials at the Garage Beers. Hit subscribe or hit follow or whatever you do over there, and make sure you're tuned in with us. And if you're watching us on our streams, make sure you hit like and subscribe there as well. With you as always, I'm your host, Michael Keefe. Find me online at Garage Beers Mike. And joining me tonight, first out in Seattle, where the sun is still up because it's 6 p.m., it's Joey Whalen. Find him online at Garage Beers. Joe, what's up, Joe?
What's up, Mike? Dude, I'm good. I feel like the summer in the sports world is so quiet in June, and all of a sudden July 1st hits, because that obviously there's things that happen on July 1st in the sports world, but like it's like a breath of fresh air, you know? It gives you a little like kind of revitalization. Playoffs are over, but we're starting a bunch of free agencies. Trades are going down. NBA, NHL, football stuff is happening at the same time, but I feel like that moves a little slower in this month anyways, but it's great. It's like a burst of energy, you know?
Yeah.
3 p.m. cup of coffee in the summer, you know?
It is. July is where it really takes. It's a weird thing because it feels, and we still have a few weeks of kind of nothing. Like the excitement of free agency in the NBA and the NHL is going to die down. And then we're going to be back to baseball, which was so much more fun last year when we were talking about a first place baseball team. And now this year where we're like, oh God, this season is taking forever. But we got a few weeks still left of the doldrums. But listen, no guests tonight on Garage Beers, but I'm telling you, we have got whopper guests coming up in the near future, within the next couple of weeks. We've got a lineup of guests that are set. So, make sure you're tuned in and make sure you're watching the socials as we announce those. Our buddy Chad will be here tonight as a dedicated father and coach of his young son's baseball team. Chad had to get to baseball tonight, so he's working his way back. I think he's getting set up right now. So when he gets in here, when the kids allow it, we'll bring Chad in and he'll be part of the party as well as we talk about everything. But yeah, listen, I'm with you, Joe. It's nice to see some things going on in the world of sports. And like I said, we're going to get into all of it. We can't do any of it, though. And I guess we'll just let Chad catch up on this when he gets here. We can't do anything that we want to do without starting things off with our garage beers of the week, where we go around and just tell you what we're drinking tonight. So you in the comments, if you're having a beer with us or a drink or whatever, hanging out with us, tell us what you're drinking in the comments. We'll pop it up on the screen. But Joe, what are you rocking with tonight? What's the drink that's you lose up?
Man, dude, if you're at a beer and just like been like, yeah, that's it. Like that's the one I was looking for. You know?
Okay. Yes.
I found it.
Okay.
I got that. I found my IPA. I'm not going to stop trying new IPAs, but I'm going to rock this one for probably a little while. It's delicious. It is a West Coast IPA, as good as they come. It's a brewery called Freem, which that's backwards on the screen. That's unfortunate. But it's a PF RIEM from Hood River, Oregon. Not Oregon, Oregon. Yeah, a little bear on it. It's kind of fun. This beer is just fantastic. It's a super like light IPA. It still got 6.8%, so it packs a little punch, and it's just so good. It's piney. Is just I love it. I could drink these all day, and I will tonight.
Hell yeah, I love that. That sounds great. Shout out to P Frame out there.
P Frame.
Shout out to our friends in the comments. We know Jeff's lighting it up already. MC is in the comments talking to Drew. Drew's going right back to hold on. Drew's going right back to MC. Chad's coming. Drew, don't worry. Get your bush lights out or your bush heavies out, and let's get rolling, Drew. Bob Starr. How about family here? Bob Starr, Miller Lite equals GOAT. All right, Bob. No, hey,
he's not wrong.
That's you. I mean, he's not right.
What are you, a Coors guy?
Miller Lite, greatest advertising campaign of all time.
Which one?
I will never forget being a kid at Cleveland Municipal Stadium, which you will never remember.
No.
I'll never forget being a kid at Cleveland Municipal Stadium for Indians games, Browns games, whatever. And they had the scoreboard that was just like pixelated animations.
Yeah.
Right? Like super
little, like
pixelated.
8-bit animations, yeah.
Yep. And Miller Lights, their old slogan was great taste, less filling.
Yeah.
And so the pixelated animation at the scoreboard at Cleveland Municipal Stadium was like an umpire yelling in the face of a manager, and they're just yelling back and forth, great taste, less filling. Great taste, less filling. It sticks with me to this day.
Well, they did a good job then.
Phenomenal advertising campaign for Miller Lite.
That marketing person should be making a lot of money at this day and age then.
Look at
you still remember that from your childhood.
Joe, that person's probably dead. Joe Mannix, Boog Powell Miller Lite commercial. I don't remember that. Boog Powell's before me. But I do know the legendary stories of Boog Powell wearing the all red Cleveland Indians jerseys in the 70s, and gross. I've seen those pictures. MC Lawrence, Bob Uecker Miller Lite commercials. I mean, you can't go wrong, right? Miller Lite, excellent advertising, spectacular.
I think. Sorry, I think I said this before, but I feel like we need to have like a tasting or a contest of the light beers. Okay. You do the national brands, you do the Miller, the Coors, the Buds, but then you do like the local brands, like the Mooseheads, the Genesees, the Rainiers out here. Get all of those in a mix too, because I feel like we got to rank them and rate them. Okay. It's a lot of untapped research that we haven't gotten into here.
I think that's something we're going to have to do the next time like you're here. So that we can all just get the same beers.
Yeah, I'll bring some back.
All right, that's fair. All right, I like this. I like where we're going. Look at us. We're 50.
PBR. Can't forget the great PBR.
the GOAT PBR. Jenny Cream Ale. That's my GOAT right there. Genesee Cream Ale. My GOAT. My GOAT. For me, walking through the store today and I saw this and I thought, man, summer. But like
summer.
Even I, the guy that loves the IPAs and all that, I need to take a little step away every once in a while and do others. And so I went to our a good local brewery here in Cleveland, Fatheads, and I saw this sitting on the shelves. And I love when I see this because I feel like I always kind of fail to notice it. But Fatheads has their like bumbleberry, their blueberry honey ale. But then they released the Stumbleberry.
The Stumbleberry.
Have you seen the Stumbleberry?
No.
This is the Imperial version of the Bumbleberry.
Jeez.
This bad boy is 9%.
Wow.
It is a 9% Bumbleberry. And look at that thing.
Yeah.
That
okay.
thing, it's thick
It's
with
dark.
2 C's.
Yeah. I feel like that's kind of the opposite of summer. I mean, I get the fruitiness, but like Imperial doesn't feel quite light, Michael.
No, summer doesn't mean light to me. Summer just means I guess I'm not drinking. I guess I'm not drinking a stout, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, sure. Okay. All right.
Jeff Tucker says can't drink light beers, needs calories. I need calories. Joe Mannix drinking a triple IPA. Love that.
Love it.
Or either that or he's making fun of me because I usually drink triple IPAs. I don't know what you're saying here, Joe, but I'm just going to say I like triple IPAs, so we're going for it. Those are our garage beers. We'll let Chad tell you what he's drinking when he finally gets in here. But let's get into episode 270 of the Garage Beers podcast. And again, we've got a lot of stuff we want to talk about. We're certainly going to wait until Chad gets in here, for us to kind of bust into the NHL side of things. A lot of stuff going on in the free agency world over there. We're going to wait until Chad gets in here to bust into the NBA a little bit, into the Guardians. But we're going to start with the Browns. And again, It's not new news. It's not new news, but it's again time to kind of hash this out, because the big news that Jeff, if we're going to be your asshole of the week, I love it. I love this. Perhaps you should just drink a-holes.
You ain't wrong.
No, you're not wrong, Jeff. This is it. This is it right here. The Cleveland Browns, the news breaks that Mike DeWine signs the budget bill in Ohio that allocates the $600 million that's going to go towards helping the Cleveland Browns build their new facility. And once that news broke, the Cleveland Browns were finally able to tweet what appeared to be 147 saved tweets that they just had ready to go, sitting in the drafts in their Twitter. They called up whoever their admin is for their Twitter and was like, it's go time, code red, it's go time. And that person just spaced it out beautiful. Like every 10 minutes, just boom, stadium, boom, stadium, boom, stadium. So it is official. It is officially official. The Cleveland Browns, the Haslams have made the purchase of the land in Brook Park. They have been allocated the money that they were looking for. They are fronting over $2 billion for this. And the brand new Huntington Bank Field, which they're saying it's still going to be called the Huntington Bank Field or Stadium or whatever, is going to be built a dome in an all new development in Brook Park. It's official, Joe. It's official.
How exciting is that?
I love it.
I am ecstatic over that. I think it's long overdue. I think, and I guess we can get into the conversation with the city a little later, but like, if there was another reason to go to the lakefront, I might have fought for it to stay on there, but there is not another reason to go to the lakefront. And let's make an area that people can go to that's relevant more than 8 times a year. And it's just a fun area. Like, it should be, game day should be an experience. There should be businesses that benefit greatly from it. And you just don't have that downtown. You have so many things that are so far away from that stadium. And I think, whatever boom you get on game day is not maximized because, people got to walk a mile to go to a bar and then go to the stadium. Like, it's just not like, it doesn't make sense to me down there. But I'm very excited for it. I think that brings a lot of opportunities for Super Bowl potentials. Obviously, winter concerts in the stadium, like, that's huge. Like, you can get some really awesome shows that can play there now, all seasons of the year. So this is a great thing, not just for the Browns, but for Cleveland and just event goers in general. And this is really exciting.
I want to structure this because I can already feel my head going 14 different places.
Yeah.
I want to address Justin Bibb and his comments today. I want to address the impact on Cleveland. I want to address the taxpayer money that's going to go towards helping to fund this stadium. And I want to address all that. But at first I want to just address the stadium for a minute. and I want to address the upgrade, and I want to talk about it for a minute in terms of just football.
Yep.
And then we can talk about, listen, I don't want to assume that we're going to get a Super Bowl, but I will say you do feel like backroom conversations get had with Roger Goodell and Jimmy Haslam on, like, you help us push this forward, or like, we'll get this brand new stadium that's beautiful for the league, and you help us bring in that event. Or again, It could be with the NCAA and a men's Final Four. It could be with the WWE and a WrestleMania. It could be, there's a lot of those things that, to be honest with you, I don't want to get really caught in to that conversation, because what I think is probably more likely is that in the early days of the stadium, there's probably going to be a lot of that fun stuff that happens. I think this is going to work very similarly to like Detroit. If you'll remember, when they opened Ford Field in Detroit, they got a Super Bowl. They got a WrestleMania. I think they got a Final Four. Like, there were like quite a few things. And then there really hasn't been those things. Now, has it still been a venue that's been used a lot for concerts and events and things? Yes. Ford Field doesn't go unused very much. But I don't want to get too over our skis a little bit and talking about like Super Bowls or
no, I didn't that's on there, but yeah.
No, I know, but a lot of people are saying, well, Super Bowls and this and that. And it's like, listen, we're still going to see. They're going to have to really, like, I think as cool as the stadium is, and we're going to talk about the stadium, but I do think that development and hotels and like building the area is also going to be important if you want to attract big events.
Yeah.
If you can say, hey, we got hotels, we got places to stay, we got restaurants, we got food, we got shopping, we got that all right here, that will be very helpful in that event. But let's talk about it just from the perspective of the stadium. And if you haven't had a chance to look at the renderings yet, like, they released new ones. Again, they've been just sitting here waiting to release all this stuff. They've released new ones. So again, it's all official. We know what this thing's going to look like. We know how it's going to go. We know when it's going to happen. Cleveland Browns are going to play 25, 26, 27, and 28 on the lakefront, and 2029 is going to be the first year in the new stadium. So I got to tell you, man, from a stadium perspective, there's a lot that I want to talk positively about, but then there's one thing that I'm like, ugh. First things first.
Okay.
The look and the vibe of the stadium, I think it's cool, man. I don't know about the outside of the stadium. It looks like it's going to be built into the ground a bit.
Yes.
So it doesn't look like it's and it's not going to be a big, tall structure, because it can't be, because the airport's right next door.
Right.
So it's not going to be this big, imposing thing from the outside. But when you look at it from the outside, it's got whatever kind of a look to it. I kind of like it.
Yeah.
But then when they get closer, when they like pan in on these shots to like the entryways, and like there's multiple levels where you can go in, and there's all these like kind of elevated, almost like floating walkways a little bit. There's a cool look to this thing.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a very cool look. And like I guess like in ground, I don't know if that's definitely not the right term for it, but like the sunken in stadiums is one of my favorite things ever. One, because as you're going to the stadium, it's a rather unassuming building. And you're going to a big destination. It's very wide, but as soon as you go into these types of stadiums and you see, like, it makes it feel bigger, I think, when you can walk in and go down, when you're walking at like a higher level into it. So I love that part of it. And yeah, obviously they can't build high because the airport there. I don't think that's that big of a deal. But yeah, I think, the renderings look very cool. And yeah. Oh.
The Browns released a graphic. Very top of the graphic is $2+ billion investment, the largest individual investment in like a development thing in Cleveland history, or in like Cuyahoga County, or I don't know, whatever the area history. I didn't like that part of the graphic, because I don't want to see you patting yourself on the back over this. Like, it's cool, but like, pat yourself on the back later when like maybe you can build a winning team and it's cool in there and everybody's having fun. Don't pat yourself on the back yet. But some of the things I liked on the graphic that they've talked about, it'll be the largest locker room in the NFL. Now listen, no fans don't give a shit about that, and I understand that. But every year that report card comes out, the NFL report card, where the players like rank things and they grade their own teams, and every year the Browns get a lousy score on their report card. They get a lousy score on some stadium stuff. So all that says to me is that clearly the Browns are looking at this and saying, okay, in building this new stadium, we've got to address, we want to make our players happy. So it looks like right off the bat, they're taking steps to make the players happy. Number two, I saw people getting made fun of for saying they like this. If you want to make fun of me, get in the comments and bring it, because I am ready. I'm ready for this. Wider, like some of the widest concourses in any stadium. I don't know about you guys. I don't know. Maybe you guys don't care about that. But walking through the sardine can concourses at Cleveland Browns Stadium sucks. It's a shitty experience. It's a bad experience. So they've listened and said, we need to open this thing up so that when you're out walking around looking for food, looking for beers, hanging out in the concourses, it doesn't feel like you're crammed in with 80,000 people trying to like squirm your way through it. I think that's great. Apparently, according to the Browns, we'll see if this winds up being true. But according to the Browns, the closest front row seats in the league and the closest last row seats in the league to the field. Meaning they're really trying to build this stadium with fans in mind and trying to be on top of the action. I think that is spectacular. I have said for years, I think the best basketball arena I've ever been to is the one in Indianapolis, because the one in Indianapolis is built with just that in mind. You feel, no matter where you sit in that place, you feel like you're right on top of the court. Sounds like they're trying to do that. And then we saw, Joe Maddox said it, the largest vertical fan wall. It sounds like they're trying to take a page out of the LA Clippers book. Remember the Clippers built their new arena and they have, I don't remember what they call it out there. Maybe they call it the wall. I think they call it the wall.
I think it is the wall. Yeah.
So the dog pound, because they're still going to call it the dog pound, is going to be like a fan wall like that, where it's going to be kind of like this vertical wall, and it's all one. It's one level, one story, top to bottom, of just nothing but fans. Those things.
That's cool.
Those things. I'm excited for that. I'm excited for that. I'm also excited, Joe. Sorry, I was waiting for you to tell me if you were excited about things or not, but that's fine.
I'm excited at things. I mean, look, everybody loves a spacious concourse, right? So that's the thing, that when the season ends each year, we're like, damn, this team sucks, but if we had a spacious concourse, we'd be a much happier fan base.
I would be so much happier standing out there.
And you know who will not be playing in that stadium? It's kind of like saging the franchise, I think. Maybe we're thinking about this all wrong. It's not about the building. It's not about where it's located. It's about a sage of this franchise. We won't have Deshaun at that point. It's kind of the only one I'm thinking of here. Sorry to single out Deshaun, but hey.
I'm not, don't be somewhat. We're never sorry to Deshaun.
Not sorry to single him out. I just, we usually have more than one bad egg on the team. But yeah, that's exciting. It's just it's a new start. Maybe the stadium was the problem.
When I look at just the visibility, when I look at just the aesthetics, I love the glass ceiling. So you don't feel like you're in like a building. You feel like you're it's a glass ceiling. That's going to give you, plus there's glass on the ends too. So lots of open natural light. Again, I like the look of it. My only concern with the look of it, like if we're building this like state-of-the-art, really cool stadium, and I had to think around for a minute, but when I think about like the new state-of-the-art stadiums that have been built, Atlanta, Los Angeles, those ones, even Dallas, they have some kind of like state-of-the-art cool like scoreboard situation going on in there. And I don't see, I mean, I see scoreboards. I see like big scoreboards at the ends, but I don't see anything that looks different or like big state of the art. And I don't know, maybe and that doesn't matter, but I think that stuff is cool. But then I guess when I think of other ones, like the company that designed this stadium is the same company that designed US Bank Stadium up in Minneapolis. They don't have some kind of big overhang or big crazy scoreboard in there either. So I guess it's not super necessary, but it kind of was like, I was like, oh, come on, we gotta have some like,
Yeah, I don't know if that's necessarily like intentionally like a focal point of the renderings either. Like that sounds like something they could announce later on.
oh, that's true. That is true.
Scoreboard seems like a little bit of a later stage
That's fair.
ad.
All right, we're gonna.
But I agree. I love the natural light. That's
Yes.
huge. At least if you're gonna be inside, at least give sunshine. The 3 games out of the year will have sunshine. And yeah, it gives you a little more outdoorsy feel in it. Hopefully there's air conditioning in there because if you recall, one of the issues with SoFi is that they have all this natural light and it's just a greenhouse in there because they don't have AC.
Oh God. We're going to keep talking about the stadium, and again, we're going to talk about circumstances around the stadium. But I see him in the background here, so let's bring him in. He finally got the kids to bed. And now it's time for Super Dad Chad to jump into the podcast. Chad Meyer, man, what's up, dude?
Hey, how are ya?
Good. Was so good. How are you?
Oh, just great. Just great. Late game today. Had to get the kiddo to bed. Finally asleep, and now I'm here. Here we are.
Well,
what are we talking about? More bullshit?
Real quickly, tell us what you're drinking, and then we're going to get back into the talk.
From Mola Brew Barn down there in BFE in Maria Stein Marion Local, Ohio.
Hell of a
great
football squad. Hell of a football squad.
Incredible high school football squad. That entire MAC conference is the best conference in Ohio. Football, at least. Anyway, it's the Orange Peel Crush Citrus Pale Ale.
Yeah, it is.
Right there. It's a tasty beverage. It's a nice little hint of orange, very subtle. I like my beers well balanced, and this is a well balanced orange flavored citrus pale ale, guys.
Oh, that sounds lovely. Chad, give us your quick thoughts because we've just kind of hit on it a bit, and now I want to go to some other circumstances. But we were just talking about the fact that it is officially official that the Cleveland Browns are moving to Brook Park. They got the approval, they got the state funding, they bought the land. It is official. They released. I was joking with Joe at the beginning of this that it feels like they had their Twitter admin just save like 100 tweets. And as soon as this thing became official, they just went like boop, boop, boop.
Yeah,
boop,
just
boop,
a scheduled release of tweets. Yeah. For sure.
So tell us, just real quick, your thoughts. All we're talking right now, we're going to get into some of the surrounding stuff, but all we're talking right now is just the aesthetics of the place. I know we've seen it. I know we've seen the renderings and stuff, but they did release a little bit more thorough renderings and all that. So as you kind of look through it today, just give us your initial thoughts.
Yeah, it looks great. It looks amazing. It looks like it's going to be awesome. I've experienced like 1 or 2 domes in my life. And they were both in warm weather. So I didn't really take advantage of, you're like, oh, it's cold outside, but I can't wait to take these. No, I went in with a t-shirt and shorts outside and, wore a t-shirt and shorts inside, but that's going to be a huge advantage, in the wintertime. It's not only am I excited about, how the stadium looks. I'm excited about what the stadium's going to bring. I'm excited about that whole area, what they're going to do to that whole area. So yeah, that's, I guess, if that's, you want my quick thoughts, those are my quick thoughts.
I just want to know what Joe was thinking right there when Chad was talking about how much dome he's experienced in his life, and Joe made a real funny face.
Yeah.
Interpret that how you will.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right,
a couple domes in my life.
Yeah, listen, I think the aesthetics of the place are positive. I think just to get into I want to get into some of the talking points now. Again, I wanted to structure it because my head just wants to start yelling at people for the talking points. So talking point number 1. We're all going to have to get over the fact that we're just going to play football inside, guys. Like, I don't know why people are so crazy about this. I don't know why people are so crazy about putting a football team in a dome. I don't understand. I don't understand the aversion to it. Frankly, I think it's wild. I think it's wild that Buffalo is building a new stadium when they have to literally dig out of snow drifts in order to play games up there. And it's not like it provides them with any big crazy thing. I don't understand the aversion. And frankly, I think it's hilarious to watch people, and I think I've said this on the show before, I think it's hilarious to watch people act like they're tougher than the weather. Like, all right, okay, all right, bruh. So you can take your shirt off and stand outside when it's 10 degrees. Oh my God, you're so tough. What an impressive guy. I saw somebody post, well, dome football in Cleveland is like the ultimate bitch move or something like that. And I'm like, did you just call Detroit, everybody in Detroit, a bitch?
Yeah.
Or everybody in Minnesota?
Yeah.
Like, what? Why is this? Why? I don't know why people are so averse to this. I mean, listen, I think it's really fun and cute and whatever when you have a snow game in Cleveland. Like the one time, it's less
Every
than once
5
a year.
years, though. I mean, come on, that doesn't happen
yeah.
that often.
No, I think we've had one each of the last 2 or 3 years, like a big ass snow game in Cleveland. But in reality, Joe, you're right. For the most part, it's like warm weather, chillier, and then it's just cold and like wet most of the time in these games. I do not. I want to go on record as saying I do not give any kind of a shit about whether they play football indoors or outdoors or whatever. And football isn't meant to play anyway. It's just meant to be played by the rules. That's it.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I don't. I love football in any sort of climate and environment. You can give me it outdoors in the snow and the muck and the mud. Give me it indoors. I don't care. I just love watching football. So yeah, I'm not. I don't care one way or the other. I'm just more excited about not just about the football, but I'm more excited about what this stadium and this new area is going to bring to the city and to Cuyahoga County. The one thing that I did kind of have a problem with, that I did kind of went, oh God, stop being a fucking douchebag about this, is I saw like Ben Axelrod, like he's one of my assholes of the week. Like I saw him.
I went throwing it out there already.
Yeah, I saw him put a tweet out there saying, "Oh, taking the Muni Lot experience now, because on any game days and any home openers and any big games the Browns might play in the next 3 years, because that game day experience is not gonna translate over to Brook Park." Oh, really? You're not going to be able to get blackout drunk in the Brook Park parking lot, whatever parking lot that is. You're not going to be able to set up your grills. You're not going to be able to get your speakers out and bump tunes at 5 a.m., 6 a.m. You're not going to be able to just get hammered wherever around the new stadium in Brook Park. Shut up. It's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. And as a matter of fact, we're lucky enough to have it in Cleveland. In LA, they got to pay like $150 just to go park to tailgate. Like the game day experience is not that great. We should just be so lucky. Get hammered. You're just changing the parking spot you're getting hammered in. That's all you're doing as far as the tailgate. The game day experience is not going to change whatsoever. 100%. And then you know what? You're going to get hammered. You're going to get hammered. You're going to get warm outside, okay, in December, and then you're going to go inside and take your coat off and be able to get hammered some more, but be comfortable while you're doing it. Shut up.
Oh. We can't have comfort on game day? No.
Yeah, no, not at all.
I think there's first of all, I love this comment by MC Lawrence. Grew up going to Cleveland Municipal Stadium. Don't care for the young whippersnappers getting an indoor comfortable stadium. It's jealousy, Mike. Listen, I already told the story about how I grew up going to games in Cleveland Municipal Stadium. Chad, you grew up going to games in Cleveland Municipal Stadium, right? Like we did that. Been there. Done it.
And frankly, it's some of the best memories of my life.
And yet at the same time, if you're telling, here's what I'm going to tell you. As somebody who I don't buy season tickets, I go to maybe 1 or 2 games. I enjoy watching the football games from the sanctity and luxury of my sweatpants on my couch. That's where I like to watch the football games from. I like that the beers here are way cheaper than the beers at these stadiums. And I like that I can get up and get food whenever I want, and I don't have to worry about my kids. I like to watch the games from my own home. Having said that, I'm going to tell you this. Year one, I promise you, 2029 comes around, I'm going to a damn Browns game in December.
Yeah.
You couldn't pay me. Listen, even if the Browns are good. Now, listen, if you're telling me they're going to host between now and 2028, if you're telling me the Browns are going to host an AFC championship game and I can get tickets to that, would I go to it? Yes, I would go to it. I would freeze my ass off. But, like, come on, that would be super cool. But, like, otherwise, I promise you, I am not going to go to one more game in Cleveland Browns Stadium, Huntington Bank Field currently, the outdoor stadium in the month of December. You're not going to find me there. It is not going to happen. And
Fair.
you could say it's wussy or you could say whatever. I love the team. We talk about them all the time. We cover them. I love them. I watch every minute of every game. I watch their practices and the draft and all that. It doesn't matter. I'm not going to go be significantly terribly uncomfortable and act like I'm having a good time anymore. It was fun when I was 22.
Yeah.
I'm 40. It isn't fun. And I'll give you something for everybody that's got something to say about it. There's a lot more people like me than the other way around. There's a lot more people like me.
Yeah. I don't know. Like I said, I enjoy it no matter what. So I get like there's something macho and prideful about watching a game in the elements. I get that. But I also get the fact that you just want to be warm and that you just want to be comfortable, that you just want some arm room to drink your beer, right? You just want to sit on your couch and drink your beer. So I don't know. Yeah, it's whatever's your pleasure. Because I'll tell you what, the guys who want to be, oh no, this save the Brown Stadium to go outside. No, you're gonna be in that dome stadium. All right, you're gonna be getting in that dome stadium. You're in that dome stadium no matter what, because
that's a promise.
Because a lot of you boomers, a lot of you guys that just don't want football to leave downtown, to leave it. You're a Browns fan. We all know that you're going to be there. Okay, so I don't know why you're going to complain. You're going to bitch and moan like an impotent jerk up until that stadium is built, and then you're just going to be right there at games. So I guess enjoy your complaining right now, but it's coming. It's coming. The dome's coming whether you like to or not.
I want to get to a couple comments. I like Sean's comment. Can they put a beer tap at every seat and just do pay to pour right at your seat?
Worth the money. Worth every cent.
I don't think it's feasible to do with 65,000 seats, but I think it's the greatest idea that's ever been had.
Yeah.
Like when you go to those places that you just buy, like you just tap your credit card and then you pour as much beer and that's what it charges you for. Like Wild Eagle Saloon or whatever. I think that's literally the single greatest idea that's ever been had for a football stadium.
Yeah.
It's not feasible, but I think it's great.
Right.
And then he came back. Sean's out here coming with hot ones.
And
they
Fuego.
bring back the troughs for nostalgia for Old Municipal.
Oh.
Hey. How about a beer tap at every seat with your own little trough? He'd see that runs down. Huh? Let's go.
I don't need to see. Nah.
Who's going to be looking? No one looks when you're in the men's bathroom anyway. You weren't looking in the troughs.
I don't need to
Everybody just looks straight ahead.
I don't need to see what you would see. I don't need to see what you would see at a Browns game.
Not necessary.
Yeah. Do you want to get into a fight? You just tell someone, nice watch.
Joe Maddox got me excited. 72 degrees indoors for a game in December. Yeah, sign me up. I'm there. I'm going.
Sounds great.
I'm going to that.
No, but we need to be in the sleet or the fucking whatever that mix of rain, snow, and drizzle and grapple. Yeah. No. Football needs to be played in the grapple. No, shut up.
It must be grappling. Okay, a couple other things I want to get to, and then we can get away from the stadium for a minute. Justin Bibb releases a statement today. And he's killing me about this. The mayor of Cleveland is killing me about this. And this goes hand in hand. These two conversations go hand in hand. There's the conversation of how upset Cleveland is that the Browns are moving outside of downtown Cleveland proper. They're moving out to Brook Park. And there's and consistently in the messaging is the economic impact, the negative economic impact that it's going to have on the city of Cleveland downtown proper, right? Everybody's saying it. Everybody that is trying to fight this is talking about the negative impact that this is going to have economically on downtown Cleveland.
To what
Everybody.
business?
I know, Joe.
Which one?
I know, Joe, but everybody's doing it. And yet at the same time, on the same side, you also have people screaming about billionaires shouldn't receive money, taxpayer money, to build these stadiums. And you can't talk out of both sides of your mouth like that. I know that's what we do in American politics now.
Yeah.
I know that's what happens, is you say one thing and then you say the opposite of that thing, and it's cool. Everybody just has to believe that you think both of those things, even though they are diametrically opposed. So let's talk about how that does not make sense. If it's such a dramatic economic impact for an area, if it brings as much money as they want you to think it does to businesses and to the city and to development and all of that, then you cannot turn around and say that you don't think the taxpayer money should be going to fund it. Because that means taxpayer money is going to fund economic development and businesses and the city and exactly what you want taxpayer money going to do. You can't say that those two things, you can't argue both of those things out of both sides of your mouth. You can't.
No.
You can either be mad that taxpayer money is going to fund the stadiums, but then you have to be like, yeah, because these stadiums don't do much for the cities anyways, which, listen, there's a lot of studies out there that show that maybe they don't do as much for the cities as people think. But I also think there's a lot of things that you can't study that sporting events do for cities. Or you think sports teams and sporting events are great for cities, and then you have to be okay with this because it's how the business works. Jimmy Haslam's fronting over $2 billion for this. And he's getting taxpayer money, $600 million of taxpayer money. And if there's a return, if people are getting jobs based off this, if businesses are being created off this, then it's fine. That's what this is supposed to do. That's why this happens. I understand why people don't think that taxpayer money should be going to fund this stuff. But here's my thing. You should have a two-way system. Either say, all right, owner, you have to fund this whole thing, but then you can reap all the benefit of it. All you have to do is pay like basic taxes on your property. Otherwise, you can reap all the profit from this. Or you say, we'll give you taxpayer dollars, but then we're going to take a slice of this profit. We're going to take extra. We're going to take your lease money. We're going to take this. We're going to take that. Give them two choices. But right now, the way things work is taxpayer money goes to help fund these stadiums. And then the cities or the counties or whatever, where these stadiums are built, are reaping rewards in other ways. I don't know why this is so hard for people to understand.
And guess what money is going to go towards building up that lakefront? Supposedly.
Go on.
If you're taking a slice, and then Mayor Bibb is committing, supposedly, I'll believe it when I see it, committing to just giving Cleveland a world-class lakefront, the same shit we've been hearing for the last 30 years. Guess what money's going to go to be able to develop that lakefront? Anyone?
Go on. Chat. Oh, Joey Whalen for 500.
Give me taxpayer money, Chad.
Ding, 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 ding. All right. So if you want a better city, you got to be okay with this. Okay.
That's it.
Yeah, pretty much.
I see people that I really like screaming about taxpayer money going to fund billionaire stadium. This is not how things work. There is give and take. I'm not shilling. I love Adam the Bull Man. I respect him. He's a friend of the show. I really do like the guy. And he's a really nice guy outside of his radio personality or now YouTube personality or whatever. Really nice guy. But I don't like watching him talk down to people and calling them shills for billionaires because they're okay with how this goes down. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not shilling for a billionaire. I think Jimmy Haslam is I don't want to say the words that come into my brain when I think of Jimmy Haslam. I'm not shilling for a millionaire. What I am is a fan of a sports team that I want to stick around here, and I would like to watch that sports team perform in a world-class facility as opposed to this dumpster that they've been playing in for 25 plus years.
Yeah.
I'm not shilling for a millionaire. I know how the process works.
Yeah.
You have to. The city's going to benefit from this. The county's going to benefit from it. And so the city and county are going to have to contribute to it. And that means that's taxpayer money that's going to go towards it.
Yeah. All you're doing
from it.
Yeah. All you're doing is getting drunk in a different parking spot and watching them lose in a climate controlled environment. That's it. That's all you're doing.
This is the equivalent of you have a kid. The kid is the Browns. And they want batting gloves. They don't have batting gloves right now. They play baseball without batting gloves. They swing the bat. Flies out of the hand maybe, 5 out of 10 times. Don't have really good grip on it. You could buy them new batting gloves, and then they might be good at baseball. They could be really good at baseball with the new batting gloves. Or you risk it. You keep the old batting gloves on the lake. I don't know if that's going to tie in at all, but there's some analogy there.
I was gonna see how far you're gonna take this.
I was so excited for where that was going. The last thing I want to talk about, Justin Baby better come through, man.
Justin Bibb what?
Justin Baby?
He better come through.
Justin Bibb. Through with what?
I am so tired. I'm so tired of. I muted myself. I'm so tired of this embarrassing lakefront situation that we have in Cleveland. I'm so tired. I do this all the time with my wife. We're like, God, wouldn't it be nice to just go sit on like a patio out on the lake, and like have a couple drinks and some appetizers tonight? Well, guess what? There's like 2 restaurants you can do that in. If that.
Yeah.
If that.
Yeah.
I'm so tired of this embarrassment that the city of Cleveland there are some cool things. Giving Edgewater Park over to the Cleveland Metro Parks was a wonderful thing. That has transformed that little area down there, and that's great. You've got a whole ass Great Lake. I don't think if you have lived in Cleveland your whole life and you just have never brought somebody that doesn't live in Cleveland or hasn't been around Cleveland, I don't think you realize the way people act when they see Lake Erie for the first time. Like, oh my God, this is your lake? But people don't understand this. It looks like a damn ocean.
It's huge.
You've got a whole coastline here. You've got a whole damn coastline that you could be doing something with, and you haven't. And now all of a sudden, the Browns say they want to move. The Browns say they want to go to Brook Park. And all of a sudden you're going, well, we were just about to we were just about to make the coastline great. We were just about to make the shoreline great. No, what? 40 years of my life, that coastline has been trash. 40 years.
Yeah.
40 years of nothing. Nothing. 40 years of living in a city on a coast where you can't get a drink on the lake.
One of the first things we did when we moved to Seattle was
go do something by the ocean. Yeah. Grab a drink at a table by the
dinner
water.
by the lake.
Yes,
it's great. You know how nice that is when you just look out on a lake while you're sipping a cocktail and like
40.
It's so relaxing.
40 years.
Yep.
Of nothing but salt mines, which cool. The salt mines are great. They should keep the salt mines. They make a lot of money. It's great. But salt mines and a port authority that doesn't exist and an airport. That's what's downtown. and it used to be a factory that doesn't exist anymore. That's what the shoreline is. That's downtown. That's Cleveland's lakefront.
Beautiful.
And so don't use the Browns leaving as your excuse to be like, but we were just going to do this. But now Justin Bibb puts out a comment today. I am committed to developing the lakefront.
Good.
Hey, cool. You know,
I hope you do.
That? Every other mayor that has ever existed in the history of Cleveland has said the same thing. I'm tired of hearing about it.
Quite the panic move.
But they should. They should take the damn opportunity to knock down that atrocity that is Cleveland Browns Stadium and develop that entire area into like coolest outdoor, whatever, you want to make it shoreline area, and it would be awesome. And I would give Justin Bibb all the credit in the world if he does that. But don't make it about the Browns leaving, that you're like, we were just about to do this. Go do it.
Awesome. Yeah, that's how we can make his mark on this city. I mean, how. So I mean, if you can do it, great. You'll be a legend. You'll be a hero. Yeah. All over, above Mayor Mike White, above Frank Jackson, above everybody else that's coming for him. Develop that lakefront, and man, you are home free, buddy.
Yeah, agreed. All right, let's get off the Browns. The three of us are all pretty. There's a part of me that wishes one of us just really hated this, and none of us do. We're all too sane. There's a part of me that wishes one of us really hated this, but none of us do. None of us do. It's going to be great, and I promise you, in 2029, when you go to that first game, especially if they're able to build a team, like that's got to be the conversation right now. It's like, let's finish strong. Let's try to host a goddamn playoff game at Cleveland Brown Stadium, because they've never hosted one in all these years. Let's try to host one before it goes defunct, but let's make sure this team is really good in 2029. That has to be the focus, because to do that in a new stadium would be awesome.
We'll see.
Yeah, well, hey, listen, I'm not getting my hopes up. All right, let's go to our asshole of the week, and then let's talk about what's going on in the rest of the world of sports, as we talked about that for a while. So now we're going to talk about our asshole of the week, which is a person or a group of people or whatever that deserve to be called out for being an asshole. And I'll lead us off, boys. And it's the obvious one. And you had one. You kind of already let us off, Chad, but there's an obvious asshole of the week.
I've got two more whenever it's my turn.
So many assholes on Chad. My asshole of the week is a young lady by the name of Sophie Cunningham.
The basketball player?
Yeah. A member of the Indiana Fever.
Ooh,
Sophie Cunningham.
I haven't heard this.
So Sophie Cunningham. So it's been officially announced that the WNBA is expanding and the Cleveland is getting a team, which is awesome. I think we got 3 years to wait for that. So a WNBA team coming to Cleveland. I think the league is expanding to 18 teams. I think Detroit's getting one. Cleveland's getting one. I think it's great. It's awesome. It's amazing. Everybody should be excited because of the way that league is going. But also at the same time, it feels like they can't get out of their own way sometimes. So Sophie Cunningham's getting asked about league expansion. And she said, well, I think the league should really take into account putting teams in places where players really want to play. And then she starts bringing cities up like Miami. Everybody loves Florida. Hey, so no offense, Jeff. I know Jeff Tucker is in Tampa. I know Jeff Tucker. He said while we were talking before, you should live in Florida. I eat by a golf every day. I know. Jeff, no insult to your home. But not everybody wants to live in Florida. Not everybody loves Florida. She brings up Nashville. Nashville's such a cool town. Put a team in Nashville. And she goes on this rant about they should really start thinking about where the players want to play and where they want to be and all that. And then she ends it by going, well, actually, her actual quote was, I just don't know how many players want to be in Detroit or Cincinnati. She got the city wrong. I think she meant Cleveland.
Oh,
when she said Detroit or Cincinnati. Hey, Sophie, don't be an asshole. You've probably never been to Cleveland. Actually, maybe Sophie has. I don't know. Was she on any of the teams that were in like the women's Final Four? I don't know. I don't know.
I think she went to like Cleveland. NC State. So no.
Maybe she's been to Cleveland. Probably not though.
Yeah.
Hey, Sophie, shut the hell up.
Yeah.
All these people do is talk shit. And then you get athletes. So my asshole of the week turns into a cheers. You get all these Cleveland athletes that jump on. And Detroit did it too. Cleveland and Detroit kind of teamed up today. It was kind of fun to watch. Donovan Mitchell just said Cleveland in the summer is better than anything else, basically.
Tristan Thompson just weighed in too.
Tristan Thompson said the people are amazing. The food's amazing. Made this whole post about Cleveland. Talking shit about Cleveland, even though you don't live here. You don't know anything about it.
Right.
You if you've been here, it was passing. Leave it alone. Because I promise you this. and especially knowing the savvy of our females, our women in Cleveland and sports, and how in tune they are with sports. I promise you that WNBA team in Cleveland, those people are going to love playing here. Absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. So my asshole of the week is Sophie Cunningham.
You know what's funny about that too is she's probably just mad about Indianapolis.
That's the other thing. You play in Indy. What are you talking about?
What are you talking about? Both, like, Detroit has marginal things better than Indianapolis does. Cleveland definitely has some things better than Indianapolis. Like, come on now.
Yeah. Like, I don't know if you saw the tweet I put out on the show page about that today. I quote tweeted it. I did that James Franco gif where it said, same, but different, but still the same.
But still the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. She's my asshole. Joe, what's your asshole of the week?
I was gonna go the Mayor Bibb route. I feel like we already kind of hashed that to death, though. So, Chad, I feel like you have multiple. You can go ahead and take the run here.
Oh, I have two. First two are well, I guess technically three, but like two of them are kind of grouped together. I'm doing Ohio State and Michigan. So I just watched this Ohio State documentary not too long ago called "Surviving Ohio State."
Oh, I heard about that.
It's wild. It is absolutely wild.
Yeah,
worth watching.
Yes, I mean it's yes. If you're in Ohio,
heavy, but yeah,
it's heavy. It's heavy as shit. And the fact that, I mean, and if you don't know about this, it's a doctor, a team doctor, one of the main sports doctor in the athletic department at Ohio State, who had to give all these wrestlers, all these hockey players. I mean, it wasn't just a wrestling. Wrestling was is the sport that's in the spotlight.
Yeah.
Out of this, because those are the main guys who came forward. But these guys, but this it stretched across a whole bunch of other sports, from wrestling all the way down to lacrosse and hockey and all these other sports. And this guy had interactions with hundreds and hundreds of athletes from 1979 till I forget the ending date. It was something like 2005. And the reason why these guys didn't come forward is because this was the doctor that if they didn't do what he said, he wouldn't pass them for their physical and they wouldn't be able to compete in the sport that they did. So it all sorts of sexual assault charges. I'm not going to go. If you want to watch it, like the gory details are all in the documentary. If you want to watch it, go watch it. It is alarming, and Ohio State's an asshole for not doing anything about it.
Yeah,
you know, the
100%.
biggest thing that they did was lacrosse came forward and said something. All he did was not make them the team doctor anymore. The guy was allowed to just roam free across any other, across all the other sports. And the
100%.
pussy killed himself before he was able to face justice too.
Yeah.
So fuck that.
Damn.
And then Michigan as well. I don't know if you guys saw this lawsuit that's coming down from Michigan. And I guess more specifically, Jim Harbaugh. They were named. Jim Harbaugh was named as a defendant in the lawsuit today with this Matt Weiss. Do you remember Matt Weiss, part of the coaching staff?
No, I don't think so.
He got fired from the coaching staff because he was hacking into different students' computers. He was hacking into different students' computers, and people thought that it was, you know, to gain an advantage as from a football standpoint. But it turns out he's been named in this lawsuit because he was hacking into different student athletes' pictures and looking for intimate pictures.
Yep.
And trying to, and obviously you don't just look for intimate pictures and just say, oh, hey, I found those. You're doing something with them. So, and then Jim Harbaugh just glossed over the fact basically until the FBI got involved. He glossed over the fact, all in favor of just keeping the program going, right? And then there's the whole Mozzie Smith thing after getting arrested on gun charges, allowing him to play the next day. Jim Harbaugh, Michigan, you guys are assholes for doing this. My other asshole,
Jesus,
is something I just learned about, guys. I learned today that this story happened, and this happened 6 years ago in 2019. but it's worth mentioning because it's that wild of a story.
Go on.
A 33-year-old man in Ireland went to the hospital back in 2019 with severe back pain. And it turns out, after some body scans, it turns out he had all sorts of abscesses and infected. It was some form of emphysema underneath his skin in his forearms and his back and part of his leg. Why, you ask? Well, this guy decided to self-treat his back pain because he was having back issues. He decided to self-treat his back pain by injecting his own semen into his back.
No.
There's no
bitch.
There's no documented studies of anything like this helping back pain. There's no medical journals. There's no research that goes into this that's help for back pain. But this guy just said, you know what? This guy just randomly one day said, you know what? I'm gonna have a back full of semen. And it's gonna cure my back pain.
Did he think that like there were stem cells in it?
He must have. But what happened was this.
If you're injecting yourself with your own, you know what? You don't know what a stem cell is.
So in turn, his own skeet just pooled there in his forearm and just caused all these infections. The dude got treated with all these antimicrobial intravenous treatments, but as soon as he wasn't feeling pain anymore, he discharged himself. He just left the hospital before they could drain the infection. So he left with all these, not only with all these antibiotics in his arm, his back, and his leg, but still his semen. His semen was still pooled in there.
What did he die from?
You know what? I got
a skeet infection. Do you mean staph infection? No.
No. Skeet.
Yeah. I got an asshole week to add on to that.
Wow.
It's gonna be
whoa. You're following that up with something?
Yeah, well, I guess it's related. Just made me think of something like AI is really just going to take away these great stories. Because you know what? All you have to do is just go on ChatGPT or Gemini or whatever, type in, can I inject this into my back? And it's going to say no. It's going to search the entire internet of all the medical documents and records. It's going to be like, you shouldn't do that.
You shouldn't.
And we're gonna lose a good story from that. And I don't know if I'm excited for that.
Nah, you know what's great is that we still do have the internet though. So even though AI is gonna say, hey, I just searched 1 million places and 999,999 of them said, don't skeet your own back.
Don't skeet your own back.
One website is gonna be like, hey, yeah, you should probably give it a try. And
it could work.
Hey, this site said I should. This site said the earth is flat. Oh, God, I don't want to go there. All right. Those are our assholes of the week. Guys, it's 10:08 already. We got other stuff to talk about, though. So let's jump into the other stuff. And let's go to our other favorite teams. We're going to talk, I guess, quickly now about the Cavs, the Blue Jackets, and the Guardians. Let's go to Chad. I've been waiting for you here because I think a lot of the biggest news right now is in the hockey world. Where the Columbus Blue Jackets are. I'm really interested in this. I'm going to ask you this question, Chad, and Joe, you chime in too. I think a lot of people know the Blue Jackets situation coming into this offseason. One Montreal Canadiens loss away from being a playoff team last year.
Right.
And coming into this offseason with the most salary cap space in the entire NHL. And I think a lot of people got their hopes up for some big stuff to happen with the Columbus Blue Jackets. And so now we've seen what they've done. We've seen the draft where they drafted a kid that I don't think they thought they had a shot to get where they got him. And they
not
did.
At all.
And they drafted a goalie in the first round. And I think that's probably the future plan at goalie.
Mm-hmm.
But then they made a trade with Colorado.
Yeah,
but not for like top line guys.
Nope.
They made a couple re-signings. Dante Fabro, man, what a resurgence he had. So he's back, and then they signed Provorov to a big contract.
Yeah.
And then the other moves that they made have been more about like kind of the bottom lines, right? Like the bottom six. They've really kind of addressed. Feels like in this year where I think a lot of people thought they were going to come out and make big splashes, instead, it feels like they really came out and tried to address depth. So tell me your guys' thoughts on how they've approached. I mean, we're only day one of free agency, but tell me your guys, and I still think they have like $20 million of cap space left.
Yeah,
but there's not that many guys left. Like there's not that much, especially on the top of the top level guys that they're going to go after. So tell me your thoughts on how this has kind of been approached so far.
Depth is important. Depth is important. You just saw who won the Stanley Cup Finals, didn't you? That was the deepest team that I've ever seen in my life. I mean, there was no weak link on that team. So I think there was one of the needs going into this offseason was the depth of this team, and they certainly improved it with Miles Wood and Charlie Coyle. Charlie Coyle has been a very productive player in the NHL.
Yeah,
he's had some good years. The only reason why people kind of were soured on the trade a little bit was he barely played last year.
Correct.
He played 19 games, I think, but for the most part, he's been just a rock solid third line center for any hockey team that he's been on. And Miles Wood is a disruptor. Miles Wood is chaos in a 5'11", 175-pound frame, and the guy is fast and he can skate. So they added that depth in a trade. And as far as the elites go that were available this offseason, that were available via trade, Don Waddell was a part of all of them. I mean, especially on the D-man, especially on the defensive end. Rasmus Anderson, Noah Dobson. It all went to the 11th hour, right? Yeah. It all went to the final cut downs, and they just the teams, the Islanders, just liked Montreal's deal better. Right.
Yes,
all reports indicate that Montreal was trying to squeeze another prospect out of Don Waddell, and Don Waddell was just not going to budge. Don Waddell's not going to give up on the youth of this hockey team because this youth is so good, and they're only going to get better. To bring in Noah Dobson, who is going to cost him $9-10 million a year, which he signed for $9.5 million, I think, with the Islanders.
Yes,
if he is going to give up someone like a Kent Johnson, like an Adam Fantilli, someone like that, which he should never do, it's going to be for a guy who's a top 5, a top 10 player in the league, right? It's going to be one of the elites, and Noah Dobson just wasn't there. So Don Waddell has tried. Now you're talking about the re-signings. Dante Fabro, I absolutely loved. A team-friendly deal. Played like a top 4 defenseman last year, made an immediate impact, and was one of the probably the second best defenseman on this team last year. Signed for sure. 4 years, $4 million a year. What a deal that was. I mean, the big question was Provy. And once they lost out on Dobson and Rasmus Anderson, and the Flames said no, the defenseman market is very limited after that. And so you turn to Provorov. Provorov, everybody was questioning, what's Provorov going to want? What's Provorov going to want? Don't overpay for him. Is the term and the money a lot? I think so, especially for what he has turned out, right? Especially for his production the last 2 years. Yes. But this is just kind of the cross that the Blue Jackets have to bear, right? Until they start winning consistently, until they start becoming a perennial playoff contender, it's tough to attract those types of free agents here at Columbus. It is. Johnny Gaudreau was an outlier.
Correct.
Right, as far as a premium free agent goes, he was an outlier. So you're not going to attract those type of guys until you start winning. Now, you turn to someone like Provorov. His brother is going to Ohio State to play, so he's going to be here, right? And if you can get guys here, they love the city. You hear countless stories of guys just wanting to stay here. Provorov wants to stay here, but the caveat to that is once Anderson and Dobson signed, right, for those big tickets, he had all the leverage in the world because the market was thin. He was going to get he and his agent were going to get the most that they could out of the Jackets. So yeah, they did. And it's a big ticket. There's a couple of things, and I mentioned it in my TikTok video about that I think can make this deal worth it. Obviously, Provorov has to elevate his play. I think if Jet owns the net this year, hey, Look at that poetry. If Jet owns the net this year,
Heyo.
I think it's going to make it look all worth it. And then Ivan Provorov played a lot with Denton Matejchuk last year, and this was his first year up with the big club. And Denton Matejchuk made a lot of mistakes, which in turn Provorov had to try to account for those mistakes, which in turn he made little mistakes himself. So if he can elevate his play and grow, I think this contract is going to be very worth it. And then the last thing I'll say is Jackson Smith. I can't believe that fucking guy fell to him at 14.
Oh, it's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah. This guy has it all. He's a two-way guy, combination of size, speed, physicality. His offense was a little underwhelming, but going into his last year in juniors, he really developed it. He really developed his shot. He's going to Penn State, so I can't wait to watch him this year. Once the college hockey season starts, I cannot fucking wait for that guy to come up here with the Blue Jackets. I might start with the Monsters, but I can't wait for that guy to get started because I think he's going to be special. And then, yeah, I don't know. I think I covered it all.
Well, but I also think, though, for the Blue Jackets fans, you've seen some things happen in this NHL offseason that, like, take Aaron Ekblad for a minute, because I know a lot of Blue Jackets fans were like, we would take Aaron Ekblad. The deal that he took to stay in Florida, the dude cost himself millions, and not. I hate to say it that way. I don't mean it in a negative way. Instead, what I should say is he turned down millions of dollars to go elsewhere because he wanted to stay with the Panthers. He took like a Jose Ramirez deal to stay with the Panthers. Well, okay, if a guy's gonna do that, what can you do? What can you do? I know everybody had a guy like Mitch Marner circled. First of all, I think that was a little bit of a pipe dream. But second of all, Mitch Marner worked his way into a trade to go out to Vegas because he wanted to go to Vegas. So he orchestrated that trade. So the Blue Jackets never really had a chance to go after him anyways. So I think it's been a little bit of a weird offseason in that it hasn't just been about who can offer the most money this offseason. And some off seasons in every sport are just kind of like that. Are just kind of like, well, who's offering the most money? That's where these people are going to go. This offseason in the NHL is more, it feels like it's more personal decisions. And I'm not saying that anybody's slighting Columbus. You can hardly blame a guy like Aaron Ekblad for just wanting to stay in Florida, right? You can hardly blame him. You can hardly blame Mitch Marner for picking the team he wanted to go to, and Toronto got something out of it. Again, it's been who's the dude that just re-signed today with? Because I know he was another target for Columbus. Dude that re-signed with Vancouver. Why am I blanking
Brock
on his name?
Besser.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know he's a guy a lot of Blue Jackets fans wanted. Well, he went back to the team he played with because he liked playing there. Sometimes you're just gonna get that. And they offered him a good deal.
Yeah, yeah.
So I wouldn't be. Here's the thing, Chad. Before we leave this conversation with the Jackets, because I do like the depth. Even who's the Swedish guy they brought in from Anaheim?
Isaac Lundestrom. Yeah.
Lundestrom.
Yes.
Lundestrom.
Have you seen some of the reaction from Anaheim people on that?
Yeah.
Everybody's like, "Ooh, Columbus is getting a really good one." Just an underrated, really good one.
Right.
And listen, they've lost some players, right? Sean Corrali's gone back to Boston. Not that I think that's the world's biggest.
Justin
loss.
Danforth gone.
Danforth gone. I know they
love that guy.
Yeah, I mean the speed. I love Danforth's speed.
Yeah.
So they're going to have a little work to do, but there's still time for them to make some moves, right, Chad? Of all the things, Chad, Joe, whatever. There's still time for some moves to get made.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be anything flashy if people are expecting that. I mean, maybe they bring in a veteran goaltender. But, yeah, I don't see anything big happening.
What was that?
Sure. Yeah,
Well,
just because
I think
a veteran goaltender?
Well,
weird, right?
I've been calling for that for 3 years.
But I think
Weird.
Don Waddell said today that they might go sign a goaltender, a third. I think they're going into this with Merzlikins and Greaves. That's what they're doing.
Yeah.
That's the plan at goaltender.
Yeah. Well, I hope it's more Jet. I hope Jet gets plenty of opportunities this year. because the way he played last year, he deserves a shot to see if he can be the guy.
I hope he gets all the opportunities.
All of them. Starting
Everyone.
number one.
All of them. Otherwise, really quickly
good. Jacob fucking Junis is in. All right. Anyway, what
else? Well, we're losing it. It's not. You think we're going to score anymore? We'll get to that in a minute. Elsewhere, really quickly, in the NHL, anything that surprised you in the move so far?
No.
Come on. Well, there's got to be one thing that surprised you.
No.
You don't think Brad Marchand signing a
Keandre Miller going to Carolina was kind of interesting?
I know he was a guy that they said the Blue Jackets had interest in, but
yeah, that just feels like a weird move for. I don't know what New York's doing. They're kind of like unloading a little bit. What was the other one that I thought was interesting? Not surprising that Brad Marchand signed with the Panthers.
The length of that deal
for 6. What is it going to be, like 43 when he's done with that deal?
It's a front-loaded contract, and it makes him easier to cut him, like if they need to by the end. So he's finishing his career in Florida.
But what's the motivation on Florida? Why didn't they? Why a 6-year deal?
What's the motivation of Florida?
For Florida,
they're going to win like 5 cups in a row.
No, they're not.
They're gonna be right there next year. The Stanley Cup.
They're 100% going to be right there next year. But like
the Stanley Cup runs through Florida for the next at least 2 to 3 years.
You wouldn't. I wouldn't put money if it was Florida versus the Field on winning the Stanley Cup next year. I'm picking the Field. It's not, and that's not a slight to Florida. You could put the Olympic All-Star team out there, and they're not going to win 3 straight cups. Like it's so hard to do that.
I listen. I agree with you, but I just think if there's any team that's going to be able to do it, it's Florida.
And it sucks because we're not going to know till the playoffs because they will be mid during the regular season. They will get into the tournament.
Exactly.
And they're going to go off. That's what they do. It's wild.
Exactly. You know, like when Pittsburgh was trying to go for a three-peat, right? It was another dominant season in that three-peat, but then they flamed out in the playoffs.
Right.
This Florida team, they are fine not playing that way. Right. And they're able to flip the switch. That's not something you want to live and die by, but this is a team that can do it. They have all the pieces in place, and all the pieces in place are going to be there for another 5-6 years.
Right.
I do not see them faltering. I do not see them falling off despite having played so much hockey.
It's not,
which is going to be the argument going into next postseason.
It's not about falling off. It's just about some team could get hot at the right time and boom, all of a sudden they're out of the playoffs. It happens every year. It happens.
Toronto was hot.
I'm just saying.
Carolina was hot.
Toronto's just about the only team in the East that can beat them.
Carolina was hot going into that series against Florida. No, you saw they dismantled them.
All right, no other big surprises there. Let's move on because I got 2 other topics I want to hit on. So we're going to run a little bit late here, but I want to hit on a couple things. We're also in NBA off-season mode. And so let's talk about the Cavs for a little bit because they've made some really interesting moves and man, are people fired up. One, we had the NBA draft, and they drafted Proctor out of Duke, and this is a dude that people had a first-round grade on. So did you hear? This is a really interesting story, by the way. Not again. They only had 2 second-round picks, and their second-round pick was some dude out of the Italian leagues that you will never see him play.
Yeah.
I love that teams insist upon doing these draft and stash things, and whoever comes from a draft and stash. I'm not saying don't draft international players, but if you're not bringing them to play, whoever, like the Cavs tried to do it with Luke Travers, and they just re-signed Luke Travers, and they're going to give him a shot. But like, you think Luke Travers is going to make some kind of big impact? Because I don't. Anyways.
Who?
Right. So I thought this story was really interesting. It was kind of a savvy move. And this was, I don't know how to say this guy's name. This was by Sam Vecini on Twitter. But Tyrese Proctor is the guy the Cavs drafted in the second round at 49. He said, man, the Cavs did an awesome job orchestrating. I read this headline. I'm like, what are you talking about? Orchestrating a fall to number 49. So Tyrese Proctor was a guy that people had first-round draft grades on, or early second-round draft grades, like 33, 34, 36, something like that. And apparently what the Cavs did was that the Cavs told agents of the players that they were interested in that when they draft their player at 49, they are expecting to roster that player, and they're going to sign him to a 4-year contract with 2 years fully guaranteed.
Whoa.
And so what did that do?
Wow.
That made those players who the Cavs were interested in, it made those agents go to other teams and be like, don't. If you're planning on taking my guy at 35 or 36 or 38 or whatever, don't give that typical non-guaranteed two-way contract to my player at 38 or 39 or 40. We don't want it. We don't want to sign that deal. And so there were teams that were interested in drafting Proctor, and they didn't do it because the agent said, don't. He has no interest in signing your two-way contract. And he fell to the Cavs at 49 because they promised that they would sign him to that deal. And guess what they did? They signed him to that contract.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he's signed to a 4-year contract, 2 fully guaranteed years. And he's rostered this year. Like this dude's not going to be going back and forth between the Charge and the Cavs. This dude is a part of the Cavs.
Let's go. Okay.
And I'm very interested in this guy because he's a guy that really struggled his first 2 years. He was like one of the top prospects coming out of high school. Struggled his first 2 years at Duke and then just freaking exploded this year for the Blue Devils. And I think when you get to a point at a certain part in the draft, you look at like, how good is the program? How good is the coaching? Like, let's roll with that and see what happens. He's young. I think this dude's ready to go and make an impact. Like,
Okay.
I love the idea of what the Cavaliers did in the draft and the savvy that Mike Gansey and Kobe Altman showed to say, here's what we're going to promise you. So maybe go tell these other teams not to draft you.
What a confidence boost for a player. Like, that's got to make him feel so wanted on this team.
And then they immediately followed up and did it.
Yeah. Like, what a great move to welcome somebody to the team on draft day. And it's like, you're not just another pick. Like, we went out and fought with your agent to make sure you fell to us. Well, probably to say fell to us, but like, we're available when we drafted you. And here's the money. Here's the guarantee. Welcome to the Cat. Like, hell yeah, I would sign that contract.
Yeah, right.
Are you kidding me?
So we'll see. We'll see if this, I mean, the kid's, he's going to be on the 15-man roster for the Cleveland Cavaliers this year. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. So then the Cavaliers have made 4 interesting moves. The draft is where it starts. Again, they also drafted the guy that you'll never, ever, 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 ever hear about ever again. But then word comes out that they re-signed Sam Merrill to a contract that I think is a little bigger than a lot of people thought. And then word comes out that they trade Isaac Okoro straight up, 1-for-1, like a 1-for-1 trade, which you very rarely ever see in the NBA. A 1-for-1 trade, Isaac Okoro to Chicago for Lonzo Ball. So Lonzo Ball is a Cavalier. And then yesterday, the one that really got people going, a guy that very, very nearly won the 6th Man of the Year award in the NBA last year, a guy that was deserving of that award, Ty Jerome. The Cavaliers do not sign. And instead, he goes to Memphis. And he goes to Memphis for a slightly lower average value, annual value of a contract than Sam Merrill signed for here in Cleveland. And so I want to work through this, guys.
Okay.
Because I understand some people being like, what just happened? And then I don't know if you've seen Twitter tonight while we've been on the air, but Ty Jerome made like a thank you Cleveland posts on Instagram. And as part of his thank you Cleveland post, he basically says, this past year will always hold a special place in my heart. I was never presented the option of returning, nor did last season end how I wanted it to. I will never forget all this year brought. So he said they never even offered him the option to return.
Whoa.
So, okay.
So let's unpack.
My thoughts are very different than what I'm seeing out there, but I want to get your guys' thoughts first on everything that I just presented to you for the Cavaliers. Again, we're talking about a 64 win Cavaliers team from last year that flamed out in the playoffs, but that is also in the second apron of the tax the salary cap. So they are very much stuck on a lot of what they can do. So again, they got what they got in the draft, and that's trading Isaac Okoro for Lonzo Ball, re-signing Sam Merrill, and letting Ty Jerome walk to Memphis. I want to hear your guys' thoughts.
And signing Larry Nance Jr.
Oh, my God, I forgot. That was the last one. Oh, my God, I'm so sorry.
Come on.
So sorry because, no, I feel so dumb because that's one of the biggest things that they've done. They convinced Larry Nance Jr., Revere High School legend.
And
Larry
Washington
Nance Jr.
Cowboy legend.
Larry, what?
Oh, sorry, Wyoming Cowboy legend.
There it was. I was like, Washington.
My bad.
Who the hell is that?
My bad. He herded cattle for a while.
Revere High School legend. Doesn't it make you laugh that you know that at one point he was playing against like Cloverleaf?
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing.
Streetsboro had to defend Larry Nance. The hell? Bring it out,
probably
Copley, you son of a bitch.
Yeah, probably went down to Wadsworth. Had to play in that gym.
Hell of a matchup.
It's crazy. I wonder when Wyoming caught. I wonder when Wyoming caught notice.
I didn't mean to skip over that because I do think a lot of people are very upset about this Ty Jerome thing. And again, I'll give you my thoughts after I hear what you guys have to say. But man, did the tone shift when they announced that they got Larry Nance to agree to a league minimum deal to come back to Cleveland. Like, I did not mean to leave that out. So now you guys go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, no, yeah, I think so. A couple things to unpack. I'll start with the trade with Isaac Okoro and Lonzo Ball. I think that's a steal. I love Isaac Okoro. I think he is just a top tier defensive player, a very, very bottom tier offensive player. And it's really tricky to find a consistent spot for a guy like that in your lineup, where you're not just putting him in special scenarios and matchups and things of that nature. Like he's not a guy that's going to ever come back as a starter for the Cavs. And I think it really limits him to where he can be effective with this team that is so poised to be a high scoring, high octane offense team. Defense is great, but it's not the vision of the team right now under Kenny Atkinson. Maybe under JB Bickerstaff, you saw Isaac Okoro getting utilized, I think, in a much more dominant way. I think he was starting a lot more during JB's time as well. But I think that bringing in a guy like Lonzo, you're not bringing in like a world all-star here, but like, it's a guy that can get you a little more production, I think, on the offensive side of the ball. A guy that can score a little better than Isaac Okoro can. And so I am excited to see that. It's a change. And I'm on the fence of like, we don't need to blow up this core, but like we need to make changes in this lineup. And I think Isaac Okoro is a perfect place to make a change like that. Ty Jerome's a little tough. And it's very tough to read it because if you're going on recency bias, you might be super excited by this move, given how poorly he performed in the last series of the playoffs. But that guy, for how often Darius Garland is injured, he provided so much stability to this team that it's really tough to be like, oh, like we can just move on from a guy like Ty Jerome. Like for 95% of the season, he was exactly who you wanted in that spot whenever he was on the floor. And he just had a bad series towards the end of it. He had a great series against the Heat to start off the playoffs. So it's like, again, if you're going off recency bias, you might be excited for this, but like, this might be kind of a miss. I don't know where they're going to get that production from or that stability from in the point guard position. But that's a little bit of a tougher pill to swallow for me.
Do you want to show me some of your ties, Ty?
Oh, great reference. I was born to love you.
I was born to lick your face. I was born to rub you, but you were born to rub me first.
Hey.
Listen, if there was one thing I think the Cavs could have used, I mean, listen, if the Cavs were going to make any moves this offseason, it was going to be these types of moves, right? These small, like ancillary, like moves on the bench.
Yep.
And if there was one thing I think the Cavs could have improved on, I think that was the versatility in their bench. Right, you had a lot of guys who are very limited on that bench and what they could do. Yes, Ty Jerome was, had a great case for Sixth Man of the Year, and when he was hot, he was just scorching hot. But I think, with the trade for Okoro for Ball, I think Lonzo Ball, for as great on defense as Isaac Okoro was, I think Lonzo Ball is a lot better in a lot of other areas than Isaac Okoro is. So, I mean, yes. Did you hope that Okoro's offensive game would work out? Yes, obviously. But if you can get a guy like Lonzo Ball, and not to mention it saves you a little bit of money in the long run, sure, yeah, absolutely. And then you look over at a guy like Sam Merrill. I mean, everybody was probably surprised at that, but Sam Merrill, everybody was looking at him as just a spot-up shooter, right, before last year. He came in. He clearly worked on his game, and he clearly got better on the defensive end last year. So he's become a more versatile player as well. So they decided to extend him. And then you sign a guy like Larry Nance. Larry Nance is much more skilled than, say, I don't know, Tristan Thompson. Just the rebound machine, Tristan Thompson. Yeah, so I mean, you've got like I said, you got a guy like Larry Nance that can bang down low in the paint. He's a good rebounder, and he's got a little bit of a jump shot too, and a nice little baby hook. I don't know if he's going to switch hands. I don't know if he's a switch hitter, going from the right to the left hand. But he's got a nice jump shot as well. So I think the Cavs added a lot more versatility to their bench. How's that going to work out? Is that going to translate? How's that going to translate into the regular season? I don't know. It remains to be seen, because Ty Jerome saved a lot of games for this Cavs team last year with his shooting performances, with his offensive performance. So that I think that part remains to be seen. But for the most part, I think the Cavs got a little bit more versatile and a little bit deeper as the bench goes.
I think that's a really good evaluation of what happened. And I don't think the Cavaliers have gotten worse. Listen, I'll give you my impression as the resident Cavs guy. I think the Larry Nance move is backtrack. The trade for Lonzo Ball has the opportunity to be the most consequential move that the Cavaliers made this offseason. But again, we're talking about if a guy stays healthy that hasn't been able to stay healthy. We're talking about if a guy stays healthy that is, over the course of his NBA career, has missed like 2.5 full seasons of basketball. So I don't want to sound ignorant to the fact that the likelihood is he going to do that? Probably not. I hope he does. I hope they find a way to keep this dude healthy. But Lonzo Ball has worked his way into every imaginable injury. If he's healthy, though, it's such a massive upgrade. A 6'6" ball handling, extremely versatile point guard that can defend, that can score. He's not worthy of a number 2 overall pick. But he's probably worthy of a 15 overall pick in the draft. And that is an improvement. That's an improvement over Isaac Okoro, who was a good defender and a bad offensive player. I think we should all just be able to say that at this point. And it's an improvement over Ty Jerome. And that's what I think people don't want to talk about. We are going to view Ty Jerome in this lens of this legendary player who caught these wild hot streaks. And that's what Ty Jerome did. Ty Jerome had a great season, and I am not trying to undersell it in any way, but he caught these wild hot streaks that made him so fun to watch. Ty Jerome was so fun to watch when he got hot. I do think it's fair to talk about the times where he wasn't hot. And I don't feel hypocritical doing this because I had a very love-hate relationship with Ty Jerome this year, and I talked to you guys about it. We talked about this all the time. What was my thing with Ty Jerome? I love when he would get hot. I love that was great. But every time Ty Jerome made a three-pointer, he would shoot a three-pointer on the next possession. It did not matter what the situation. Pissed me off to no end. He would just dribble down the court and launch a three. You are not that guy, Ty. Sometimes it would work. A lot of times it didn't. I also think Ty Jerome was a pretty good passer, a pretty good facilitator of the basketball. I also think Ty was very susceptible to kind of living beyond his means. And I think Ty was very prone to stupid turnovers because he thought he was going to be able to make a play that he couldn't make. And so I don't want to make this a Ty bash fest. But I do think the people that are going crazy, like Ty Jerome was this, Ty Jerome was that, he was great. Don't get me wrong. I loved him. I enjoyed watching him. But there were definitely flaws to his game. If Lonzo Ball is healthy, he's better. He may not be a better three-point shooter, although he's developed that. But he's certainly a better passer. He's certainly a better defender. He's certainly a better playmaker for the offense. And I think that's what the Cavs are looking for, is somebody that can facilitate and make plays for the offense. And the last thing I'll say about what the Cavs have done this offseason so far, and again, I don't anticipate there to be a bunch of big more moves. But I will say this. I think they've shown you that playmaking matters to them. So a lot of people got really caught up on, oh, the Cavs paid Sam Merrill this and Ty Jerome got this. And so they wound up paying Sam Merrill a little bit more than Ty Jerome. It's not about Sam Merrill versus Ty Jerome. Once they made the trade for Lonzo Ball, that was the end of Ty Jerome. It's about Sam Merrill and Lonzo Ball and the core and the rest of the roster versus Ty Jerome, and then who the hell knows what else is going to happen. Because if you don't get a return for Isaac Okoro, is it Sam Merrill and Lonzo Ball and whatever the rest of the roster is versus Ty Jerome and Isaac Okoro and no Sam Merrill? And then you try to figure it out from there. They're trying to make some kind of moves. It's not a one-on-one deal. I think that's the thing that really aggravated me last night as I was watching the reaction to the Ty Jerome signing with Memphis thing is, oh, they paid Sam Merrill this much and Ty Jerome this much. It's not about this guy versus this guy. It has nothing to do with that. It's Lonzo Ball and Sam Merrill versus Ty Jerome, and then what do we do with Isaac Okoro? And that is the situation the Cavs found themselves in, and they navigated through it. And I will tell you, if Lonzo, I'm not on the Lonzo like he's one of the greatest players of all time hype train. But if Lonzo can stay healthy, man, does he bring an element to this Cavs team that they sorely, sorely needed. And so I know what else has happened in the NBA. The Milwaukee Bucks are making all the moves, right? Miles Turner signs with Milwaukee. They cut Dame Lillard. Did you guys see that today?
Yeah.
$107 million that they have to stretch on their payroll, but they did it anyways, which means Dame is going to go sign wherever the hell he wants.
But he's not going to play this year, isn't he?
They said he could be ready for the playoffs because he did tear his Achilles early enough.
Oof.
But he can sign. That dude can go vet minimum, and he's still getting paid for Milwaukee. So Go sign
Come to the
wherever you
Cavs,
want.
Dame. I love Dame. If Dame
No,
comes to the
no.
Cavs, I'm getting his jersey the day he signs.
How many point guards can you have?
We only have 2.
We have 3.
3. Who's the third?
We have Craig Porter. You have to have a third. You have to have a third string guy, man.
Fuck it. Fuck it.
Dude,
4
imagine that
6-foot
third
guards. That's it. 4 6-foot
Yeah,
guards.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Four point guards. You've got. I mean, look what Houston has done. Kevin Durant off to Houston. Clint Capella's going back there. I don't know. There's a bunch of other stuff going on. I think they're going to be fine. Look at Atlanta. Kristaps Porzingis and like Atlanta has really gone after it this offseason. I think the Cavs are the best team in the East. I think the Cavs. I think the Cavs with Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell, and put DeAndre Hunter in the starting lineup, and Evan Mobley and Jared Allen, and then you've got Max Strus off the bench, and you've got Lonzo Ball off the bench, and you got Sam Merrill off the bench, and now you got Larry Nance Jr. off the bench. I think the Cavs are the best team in the East.
Man, poor Kristaps Porzingis. Not that he cares about this, but every time I hear his name, I was like, that motherfucker. Because I think about him, and I think that's the guy that tore Kevin Love's arm out of his shoulder.
That's Kelly Olynyk.
But I know it's Kelly Olynyk, but every time I hear Kristaps Porzingis, I think it's him. I know it's Kelly Olynyk, but it's
right.
He's catching strays in my mind, and he doesn't even know it. So sorry, Kristaps.
Kristaps.
No, like I said, they just need to sim the season and put the start. Just make the NBA the postseason. Make the NBA season the postseason and be done with it. So the Cavs can prove themselves in the postseason.
I'm saying when Darius Garland gets poked in the eye for the 5th time next season.
Son of a bitch.
Well, that's why I wanted
him in the face.
Bring in Dame for the playoffs.
That's why I wanted him to start in the postseason, so that he less of a chance to get poked in the eye or hit in the face.
So I'm gonna ask you one last question, and then we'll get off the Cavs.
9 inches around. Think about it. Whoa, is that not the question?
All right, so let's talk about the thing that everybody is kind of bringing up, but nobody really wants to, but everybody is. Let's say the Cavs offer Darius Garland, Jared Allen, and then pick the guy that makes the salary match. I don't know, Max Strus or Hunter or whatever for LeBron James.
Nope.
So I want to hear your initial reaction. I'm going to tell you my initial reaction, and then I'm going to tell you what I think.
What was the package?
Darius Garland, Jared Allen, and then whoever makes salaries work. It'll be one more player. It won't be a starter. It won't be like Donovan Mitchell or Evan Mobley.
Nope. No thanks. Thank you, LeBron. Thank you, LeBron, for 2016. Thank you. We've got to be able to move on. We LeBron cannot be our savior for all of time, right? He's nearing the end of his career. Would it be nice for him to make a farewell tour here? No. Yes. No. I don't know. Thank you for everything you've done. We've got to be able to move on and win a championship without him. Okay, it's thanks for the memories, but fuck off in LA.
Look, LeBron isn't the savior we may want, but he's the savior we need. Damn it, sign me up for that trade. I'm so in on that. Why not? Give him 1 more year, see what's left in the tank. Low manage the crap out of him. Yeah, I'm in on it. I mean, it's LeBron James, man. It's our guy. How fun would that be to see LeBron back for round number 3 with the Cavs last year, finishing with his hometown team?
Just watch him pound the ball in the court for 24 seconds and then
go for it.
Driving. Oh, that'd be so boring.
Yeah, but it could be a ring.
So my initial reaction is Chad's. My initial reaction is hate it. I'd rather and listen. No, but still to this point, my reaction is just because the Cavs didn't win the title last year doesn't mean I think you need to blow up a 64-win team. I hate that thought process. It's hard to win It's hard to win championships. This Cavs roster, as it is built right now, very, 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 very well could win the NBA championship next year.
Totally agree.
100%. But then I started thinking about salary cap implications and what it would allow the Cavs to do if they made that move. Because LeBron has only got 2 years on that deal. And Donovan's here, and Evan's here. And it gives you Donovan and Evan and LeBron and Lonzo Ball and shit, I don't know. You got to go find a center. I don't know. But it allows you to be super competitive right now. It allows you to be a championship caliber team right now. And then in 2 years, it allows you to have massive salary cap space with Donovan Mitchell still here, with Evan Mobley still here. Like, it does offer you an out on the salary side of things that makes it appealing in two ways. It makes it appealing on having LeBron, who is still a 27-point, 7 assist, 7 rebound guy on the team. And then it makes it appealing to where all of a sudden you find yourself with cap space, but still like your best players.
God, I'm just thinking about watching Sagana Job get rebounds in the middle.
You want that?
That's the guy. Those are the kind of guys we'd have to sign if we gave up.
Yeah, they'd have to figure out. Well, they'd have to find veteran minimum guys, but
maybe Vitaly Potapenko will come out of retirement. That'd be sick.
That's a bad one. They picked him over Kobe. That's a tough thing to be remembered for. No, listen. Again, I still am very much in the boat that the Cavaliers should run it back with the guys they have now, because it's a championship roster still, and anybody that says otherwise is stupid and they're being dramatic. And just because they lost in the second round this year doesn't mean they're not going to go to the finals next year. But I would think about it. I would think about it for those reasons that I pointed out. Okay. Last thing before we get out of here. Boys, the Guardians are 40-43.
Yep.
They
lost tonight again. They just keep
it's not over.
Yep, it's over. They lost to the Cubs 5-2.
Oh, I'm not live.
Yep, 5-2. Lost to the Cubs.
I thought that seventh inning took a long time.
They stink, boys.
Yeah.
It's a bad baseball team. It's a bad baseball team.
It's not the worst baseball team. It's very mid-tier. I don't think they're going to be buying drastically at the deadline, but you're only
they're selling. They're selling.
Selling what?
They're selling. They're not
selling what?
No.
What are they going to sell?
I think you.
What assets do you have to sell?
I think you and I are on different wavelengths here. They're not. The opposite of buying is selling. They're certainly not buying. Definitely 100% not buying.
I know they're not buying.
They're definitely trading guys, though. Carlos Santana's gone, which is fine. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm not saying this is a bad thing. Lane Thomas, see ya.
Great.
Emmanuel Clase, gone.
Great.
Who else? Can you get somebody to take Austin Hedges for something?
Nope.
Send him. Maybe.
A literal bag of peanuts.
They're selling.
Ooh, that'd be good. We could use a bag of peanuts. Maybe some garlic fries. Trade them with the Mariners.
But that's what I mean. They're not. They are selling 100%.
Yeah. Okay.
Do they have any old guys in the bullpen? Paul Sewald or your boy Jacob Junis? Can those guys
Matt
go?
Festa. Matt Festa can absolutely
selling.
Get off this team.
The point is, I think the point is more. It doesn't matter about buying and selling with those schmucks. What matters more is this conversation we've been having for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks about these minor league guys. You ain't seen Chase DeLauder. until the very
until September.
Until the very first time they can bring him up and it doesn't affect his status.
Right.
You ain't seen him. Everybody needs to quit calling for Chase DeLauter. I know he's mashing the baseball right now in Columbus. He is every time I log onto Twitter, it's Chase DeLauter hitting a ball 112 miles an hour off the bat, smoking it through the fence for a double or whatever. Like, he ain't coming up.
It's so pathetic the way they do business. It's just so pathetic.
It sucks.
I just. But what are you going to do? There's nothing we can do about it. No, they're not changing their ways. It's just. But this whole bullshit of just one good year, one bad year, not capitalizing on your good years by making winning moves. No, you're just stuck in your ways, and it's so fucking annoying. When you have obvious needs, when you have obvious like the fact that you're not even bringing up a Juan Brito or a Chase DeLauter is
CJ Kafis, who just hit back-to-back salamis.
Yeah, CJ Kafis. Right. It is embarrassing. It is embarrassing.
Mm-hmm.
No, but whatever, division titles, blah. No, I don't care. I don't care. You're clearly not in the business to win championships.
That's it.
You're not. That's it. That's where it stops. Where it ends. Like, don't tell me about, but the future this, future that. You're always looking to the future because you don't do anything to improve this baseball team. You don't. You just rely on what you have. And guess what? It's not good enough. You rely on your instincts. Guess what? For them every other year, it's not good enough.
Chad,
it's not even every other year.
You don't always even rely on what you have.
I hate it.
You have things that are better than what's playing for the Guardians right now.
Yeah.
And you're keeping them in Columbus.
Right.
Joe, you tend to have different opinions on this. Go on.
The team's not there. Like, it's not. I think we talked about this in the playoffs last year. The team was overperforming during that playoff run. It's frustrating that you get to the ALCS and you don't invest into the team. But if you don't invest into the team, like, what do you expect? Like, this is exactly what we should have expected with this season.
Correct.
Like, there's nothing shocking about this season. Like, there's clear regressions of players. There's players that we know are going to be good, that are always going to be good, like Jose and Quan. And the team's not going to sacrifice spending any more money or losing team control on a player by bringing them up too early to remedy that this season. It's frustrating from a fan experience because, like, the Central is so weak. Detroit is okay, but they're gonna be fine. I mean, they're like fine. They're what the Guardians have been the past couple of years, where, like, they're leading the Central, but they're not like the best team in the MLB. Like, they're not going to go to the World Series. So from the fan perspective, it's like, if you just invested a little in this team, we'll get there. But yeah, I agree. I mean, they're not trying to win championships with what they do. They're trying to keep the team competitive. So it's fun to watch, but it's just not what the Guardians do. Not with this ownership, at least.
I think I'm real tired because I'm tired of being hollered at by the people who insist that, well, they don't have a good payroll, but they're still competitive. And look at how many regular season games they've won over the last 10 years. And, they made it to the ALCS last year. What the only other teams that have experienced championship droughts the way the Guardians have stories about it, have like legends about it. The legend of the Cubs drought, the legend of the Red Sox drought. And we're in the meantime, we're 77 years. 77 years since a World Series title has been won in Cleveland. 77 years. I don't know why everybody doesn't just talk about that. I don't know. I don't care. I don't care what they did last year. I don't care how many division titles they win. I don't care how competitive they can be in the regular season. 77 years. 77 years. The last time the Cleveland franchise won a World Series, my mother wasn't born. That's how this has gone. Stop it. Maybe hold the accountability a little bit higher than just, but they win some regular season games every once in a while, so that's great. It's not great. Because they do. Here's the problem. Last year was a buttload of fun, right? We had a great time with this Cleveland Guardians team last year. Holy shit. Do you remember how much fun we had talking about them last year?
Oh, yeah.
A blast. A blast. It was a blast. And every time they do this, this is the season that follows. 2007. Hey, you guys remember 2008 when they traded everybody?
Mm-hmm.
Remember when CC, Victor, gone. See ya.
Yep.
2016. Now I know 2016 to 2017 was the difference. They actually signed Edwin Encarnacion, and they didn't win, but that was like, it's like they used that as an excuse to be like, well, we did that and it didn't work out. So
right.
So then they do what they did this year. They got to guys, what they did this year is inexcusable. You got to the ALCS. You were 6 games away from a title. And he said, let's sort of run it back. Even though our ace is not going to be available until who knows when. We're in July now, and he's still not available. Even though one of our main contributors isn't going to be available until June. Even though we have no real answers in center field or right field or second base or shortstop or catcher. Let's you know what? Let's get rid of Josh Naylor and run it back. Cool.
Yeah, right.
At some point, guys, and I don't want to harp on it too much, but at some point, even the diehard people have to be like, yeah, I can't do this anymore. Like, Joey, you're about as diehard as I know. Don't get me wrong, so am I, but I am very critical too. You have been very steadfast in your support of the Guardians over the years.
Yeah.
At some point, you got to be like, well, my grandparents are never going to see a championship, and my parents are never going to see a championship, and I'm never going to see a championship. And like, it's unbelievable. The fact that other teams can luck their way. The Royals have won championships. The White Sox have won a championship. Like, think of the teams that have won it in your life. The Twins have won it in my lifetime. I think the Tigers were right before I was born. Think about the teams that have won it in your lifetime, and the Guardians just, it ain't gonna happen.
Yeah.
It's not gonna happen.
It sucks.
Yeah, I mean, that definitely blows. I like baseball for many reasons that aren't the championship, which is loser mentality, but like, it is true. That's how I stay with it. But obviously I would like them to win the championships and to win the playoff games. But it kind of seems like they're just in a rebuild mode right now.
Always.
And constant rebuild.
Every year.
So yeah, I don't know.
I'm tired of a team that's just lucky to be good. That's what the Guardians are. They, like last year. Whoa, this was fun. this was whoa, oh man, I didn't know they were going to be this good. Wow, they were lucky to be good. And then they trade Andres Jimenez, and they trade Josh Naylor, and they expect to be just as good. They're just
yeah. The offseason made no sense. And that's why I'm not surprised by this season, because you just there's no war replacement for what you did with your trades and your signings in the offseason. You got worse at the catcher position by continuing to keep Austin Hedges on this team. You got worse at the first base position by trading Josh Naylor.
Although
Josh Naylor and signing Carlos Santana.
Slade's been good. Slade's been
who cares? We're not scoring runs.
No, you score no runs.
We're scoring no runs.
Outrageously small amount of runs.
And you have a platoon of players at second. It's just there's no wins above replacement with any moves that they made. And so you can't walk into the season being like, hey, they're gonna win the Central again. You missed that boat.
I think the Guardians have they're in the bottom 10 in the MLB in WAR, in wins above replacement. It's just bad. It's bad.
Yeah.
And they're not going to go anywhere. And yeah. Anyways, listen. All right, Joe, I know you got to go. We got to go. Let's get out of here. It's been a long show. Let's do our cheers of the week real quick before we get out of here. Joe, I know you have to leave.
I'll go last.
Oh,
But then I'll jump after I do the cheers.
Chad, go first.
My cheers. The Guardians are scoring 2 runs tonight. Yay!
Ooh!
First 2 runs. Well, sorry, 8 runs now in the last 11 billion innings. Nice.
All right, we're going that kind of cheers first. My cheers was going to be, I'll make it quick, but my cheers was going to be, and it goes along with my SO of the week, but Cleveland officially being named as a WNBA host city. I'm excited for this. And I think Cleveland was pretty good at it the first time around, but I think it was too ahead of its time, which is sad to say. I don't think it is this time. I think Cleveland's going to really support whatever they call the WNBA team, Rockers or whatever else.
They've already received 2,500 deposits on tickets.
Yeah. And I'm really excited about it. And I think it's I'll definitely take my kids down to games. And I think a lot more people will do that than maybe did it the first time around. So big time shout out to Cleveland and their new WNBA franchise, whatever they name it, because it's going to kick ass here. And shit, maybe that's going to be our best shot for a title. Joe.
They should take one of the soccer team names. It was the Force, and what was the other one? The Crunch.
The Crunch.
That'd be kind of cool. Okay. All this Florida talk reminded me that we haven't done this in a while, and we haven't done a Florida man moment.
Oh, shit. Here we go.
For the podcast time. So if you're not familiar with the Florida man moment, you Google search Florida man and your birthday. And, whether the dates of the articles line up, who really cares? It's all about first impressions. So my Florida man for today is a Florida man was sentenced in an egg smuggling case. He's sentenced to 21 months in prison for smuggling Australian cockatoo eggs into the U.S.
This bitch.
Once those eggs hatched, they would have been worth about $600,000. So, I don't know. I mean, I'd bring some eggs across the border. It's worth a shot.
That's a lot of cockatoo. I like that. Those are some wealthy cockatoos.
Only Florida. Only Florida.
About 10,000 per bird. So,
damn.
It's a lot of eggs you would have brought back. But that's quite interesting. Mike, your Florida man threatened a family with Coldplay lyrics and ends the standoff with police after SWAT promised him pizza.
Good.
Oh, yes.
So
okay.
Your Florida man was threatening his own family. He was threatening them with Coldplay lyrics, warning them of retribution from his Nazi prison associates.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
But in this standoff, SWAT promised him pizza, and apparently he caved, but they did not give him pizza. So he's a bit of a sucker.
I want to shout this out. Jeff was here earlier. He's probably not still here anymore, but he said if I ordered Mike a pizza, live, would he accept it?
Yes, he
Hell
would.
Yeah, I would have. Hell yeah, I would have.
Yeah.
And then I would have threatened your family, and I'd have been like, "You are all yellow."
Chad, yours is, I think, the most fun.
Okay.
Florida man accused of stealing a gator from a golf course,
Yeah.
then threw it around to teach it a lesson.
Oh, yeah. You should see it. It's in my backyard right now. Just not cold.
Yeah, he
It
swung
knows,
it by
it
his
knows.
tail and threw it into the air, claiming he was teaching the reptile a lesson.
Oof. Yeah.
And this happened at 3:20 in the morning, which I don't know what you got to be on to like throw a gator around at 3:20 in the morning, but
Meth.
Ooh. Wow. Yeah. Speed,
Yeah.
coke, meth, and Powerade.
yeah, I think all the above. Apparently, when he was in his holding cell, he then tried to flood it. Although I haven't seen how he tried to flood it. Oh, he tried to ball toilet paper and clog the toilet.
What a dick!
So
As anybody would any sane person would do.
And imagine what this guy looks like. It's exactly that person.
Hold on, wait.
You want me to share it?
Imagine what that guy looks like.
Oh yeah, let's see.
There he is.
Oh,
it's me.
Honestly, this guy has way worse facial hair and way longer hair.
Oh, well, have you looked at his back?
It's probably there in some way, shape, or
It
form.
could be. Yeah.
All right, boys. Great stuff with the cheers of the week. Let's get out of here. It's been a long episode and we got to go. So let's get out of here for episode 270. We will be back next week for episode 271. We've got great guests coming up. So make sure you're tuned in to the socials for all the guests. But we're going to get out of here. Big shout out to the OBR for hosting us. Get over to the OBR.com. Get over to the OBR on the socials. Make sure you hit like and subscribe on YouTube or Twitch or wherever you're watching us. Big shout out to all of you that joined us live here tonight. We love you. We appreciate you for the comments. If you didn't get to us live, remember you can always get to us on YouTube, Twitch, Apple, Spotify, iHeart, anywhere you get your podcasts. You can join us there. We love you and we thank you for joining us. That is going to do it for episode 270. For Joey out in Seattle, for Chad over on the east side of Cleveland, I am Michael Keefe. Go follow the show on at the Garage Beers on all the socials, and we will see you next week. Until then, cheers, everybody.
Yeah.